Guys, they told me to be quiet about this, but you guys, you all need the truth. The essentials are now becoming unaffordable, and more Americans are actually swimming in debt more than ever before.
From the gas pump to the grocery aisle, inflation continues to take a big bite out of family budgets. In July, personal expenditures jumped another 3.3% from a year ago. We're paying more for pharmaceuticals, recreation, groceries, and clothing. And more Americans are choosing to charge it, though with credit card interest rates at a record 20.6%, many can't pay the bills. And after spending heavily during the pandemic, more than 3.5% of car loan and credit cards are now delinquent.
Do you think it's more expensive out there? I mean, we can go to different stores, you know? We can visit a Walmart, a Target, an Albertsons, Kroger's, you name it. Everything has gone up. And now what's really worrying, like this should be raising a ton of alarms within our leaders already, but you know, what's really worrying is that more and more Americans are now being forced to use their credit cards just for the basic necessities, not for leisure. And just like the report said, interest rates are at new highs. So it's really hard to expect people to not become delinquent on these credit cards. The same way that more households are missing car payments as well.
Here in Roseville, Rockwood Recovery is feeling the rush like never before, and they say it's because of what happened back in 2020.
For every one I pick up, they send me 10 more. So it's getting out of control.
Take it from Jenny Lieger and John Sarkos, owners of Rockwood Recovery. Repossessing a vehicle might not take long.
I can be out of there within 20-30 seconds.
But it is a tough job.
It can really pull on your heartstrings. You know, certain people have certain situations and it's not their fault.
And she hit the target right on the head there, huh? What a lot of people fail to realize is, while sure, you know, there are people who went crazy with their spending the past few years, but there are some who were actually fairly responsible with their money. But since inflation and interest rates have basically just destroyed our wallets, our brokerage accounts, our savings accounts, our checking accounts, many are left wondering what they can do to get out of debt. Should they follow Dave Ramsey's plan, the baby steps? Now, this isn't financial advice per se, but it might be best to clean up any kind of debt that has the bigger interest rate. So, you know, that's credit cards. And in order to do that, you need to pay beyond the minimum payment. And of course, I know it's much easier said than done.
The average credit card balance is $5,733. And talking about cumulative effects, you may be able to pay out that 20% on that for 1 month, for 2 months. But imagine this going for a year, forever, however long higher for longer means.
If you make minimum payments in that scenario you outlined at the average rate, which is about 20.5%, you'll be in debt for 17 years and you'll pay about $8,300 just in interest. So that's that cumulative effect. We see more people carrying credit card debt and for longer periods of time. 60% of people with credit card debt have had it at least a year. It becomes a very persistent debt cycle, unfortunately.
Did you say $8,300 in interest on the $5,700?
Yep, just in interest.
Balance.
So you add in the principal, and we're talking like $14,000 total.
That's a hefty price for something for $5,000.
But this is a time where focus is needed, where you need to think outside the box in order to improve your cash flow and hopefully get out of this debt bed that many of us were forced to lay in. You guys like that one? The debt bed? Because deathbed, nah, you guys got it for sure. And while we're moving on from that corny joke, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also smash the like button for the video so that we can inform more people about the truth about what's really happening around us. Appreciate the love, you guys. Now moving on, it's not just credit cards with banks and car loans, all right? Stores like Macy's and Nordstrom's, they're also beside themselves because they're seeing two things right now. So the first thing is that consumers are pulling back on discretionary spending. Basically, if they don't need it, they won't buy it. And the second thing is that they're also starting to see even more delays with store credit card repayments, both factors that could heavily impact their revenues. Just how bad is that? Oh, not that bad, you know? Macy's reported that the rising delinquencies cut their credit card revenue to $120 million in the second quarter, which is down $84 million from the previous quarter. Nordstrom said that their delinquencies are now above pre-pandemic levels, and it could result in even bigger losses for 2024. So yeah, nothing that bad, right? I mean, this is the life that many of us lead now. And speaking of now, y'all are not going to believe this one headline, but I got to be pretty transparent with you guys. It literally says that the extreme weather is the new pandemic for small businesses that rely on tourism. I mean, let's go ahead and dissect that for a second, all right? So there's a handful of terms there that just raise a lot of red flags. Weather, because of course, you know, we can't forget about climate change, right? They remind us of this like daily. There's the pandemic, you know, we all went through one, and I don't think anybody really enjoyed that. And of course, small businesses, or pretty much the oil that keeps the entire operation going. You know what I'm saying? This reminded me of the World Health Organization and their proposed treaty. You guys remember that? In it, you can see this. The parties will identify and integrate into relevant pandemic prevention and preparedness plans interventions that address the drivers of the emergence and reemergence of disease at the human-animal environmental interface, including but not limited to climate change, land use, wildlife trade, desertification, and antimicrobial resistance. Now, we have had a lot of natural disasters lately, some more questionable than the others, and in this particular text, you can actually see that they can identify climate change as a pandemic. How convenient is that?
Extreme weather is hitting Europe with catastrophic consequences. At least 8 people have died there after severe storms.
In Brazil, at least 31 more people died from flooding. And here in the U.S., more than 80 million Americans are living through blazing temperatures and yet another heat alert. It all comes as the planet reached an alarming milestone this summer.
It's all part of a larger pattern of meteorological extremes. Disasters that climate scientists say are becoming more frequent and more intense as the Earth continues to warm.
But yeah, I just had to get back to this because this was the very first thing that actually popped in my head when I saw this article. Although, even without the bad weather and disasters, I'm guessing that business still isn't as good as it once was. And with households just burning through their savings, who knows where some small businesses will be at the end of all this? You know what I'm saying? Let's now talk about another controversial topic, one that I saw recently, and it's regarding the possible building of a city on previously purchased land that may someday be called California Forever. Now, the question is, who gets to live here? Because it's being bought up by those at the very top. You know what I'm saying? Will normal folks like us even have access to this so-called utopian city?
The I-Team has confirmed a group representing the investment firm Flannery Associates has contacted Congressman Mike Thompson and Congressman John Garamendi to schedule a meeting next week to discuss the firm's general plans. This is the first time a representative of the firm has reached out to meet with congressional leaders since the purchases started in 2018.
A source familiar with the matter has confirmed to the I-Team that billionaire venture capitalist Michael Moritz had the idea to invest in the creation of a new city where land was cheap and could generate thousands of jobs.
Pardon the pessimistic outlook, but if you're an investor, the first thing that you're thinking about is making your money back, right? So I don't know about that whole deal with cheap land, but hey, maybe they mean well. Maybe they really want to build this utopian techie metropolis for the people, you know? However, and of course, we need to get two sides here. Local officials are saying that the land that this group acquired was mostly dry, inhospitable farmland, not to mention that the purchases were made so discreetly that people thought China was buying up even more land since it was close to the Travis Air Force Base. I saw the renders of the possible city, and to be honest, it looks great. But fiction has always been better than reality. It does kind of remind me of that one movie with Matt Damon. What was it? Elysium, I think? That's it. You guys see the resemblance with that idea, right? Anyway, make sure to share your thoughts on this and everything that we talked about down in the comment section down below. Before I go, I just want to thank you guys for spending some time with me today, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.